This isn't the usual place. Where on earth am I? Okay, so, yesterday, if you saw my post, I mentioned how it was quite possibly going to be a day where I'll probably go to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was wrong. It was actually more like 1:30. So, luckily, my parents are pretty cool with having the idea of me staying the night and house sitting for one night. Even if it really... Actually, I wouldn't even call it a night, because it was like 1 a.m. by the time I got here. Well, actually, it's more like... Actually, not like 12:45, but the point is, I get here, and, you know, I went to bed. By the way, I keep forgetting how notoriously cold this house is. Rather than mess with the heat or anything else, I'm not going to bother with that. The only reason why I'm not really affected by that now is because I only just got out of the hot shower, and right now I'm feeling A-okay. Speaking of feeling A-okay, let's talk about my low, my high, my active kindness, because, whoo-wee! Last night, really, my low is the fact that last night just ended. Like, last night was the sort of night where, if it were up to me, I just have it keep going. Like, it'd still be going on right now if it was up to me. But sadly, time has to move on. And so do we. But man, I tell you what, everything that happened last night... Okay, well, full disclosure, if it wasn't for the fact I saw the movie that I saw last night, I would have been able to see the premiere of Unicorn Warriors Eternal. But, you know, sometimes things just don't work out that way. But that's alright, because the movie I saw last night not only made up for it, but, again, it was worth going to bed at 1:30 in the morning for. But before that, the event I wound up going to last night, I'll definitely be talking about that as well. And my act of kindness was being one of the representatives of my family at the event that I was at last night. So with that said, let's talk about last night. Good morning. Happy Friday. Actually, hold on. I forgot. Hola, buenos días. Hoy es el viernes. Pero no es viernes ordinario. No. Hoy es el Cinco de Mayo! Cinco de Mayo! Cinco de Mayo! Yes, it's Cinco de Mayo. Yes. Why do you at least do that? Last year I didn't speak any... Seriously, in last year's Cinco de Mayo video, I didn't speak any Spanish at all. I mean, it's very clear I can speak Spanish. It's just I didn't really do that last year. So, if nothing else, I at least did that for the intro. I did that, yes. Well, this video is already turning out better than it did a year ago. Cool. But last night, which also reminds me, I hope you all had a pleasant 4th. I hope the 4th was with you. I don't think anyone's ever worded. I might have been the first person to ever word it like that. That's funny. Okay, so, in seriousness, the event I went to last night was an event for my late grandfather. Specifically, he was going to be earning a Lifetime Achievement Award for all the work he did for an organization called United Way. Now, for those of you who don't know what United Way is, it's one of those major organizations that gives money to various different charities in a given area. Like, you know, Habitat for Humanity, you know, children's hospitals, those sorts of things. And it wasn't just me there representing my grandfather. It was my brother and his wife, a very dear friend of the family, and the person who went up to accept the award. And the reason why I'm not only an alumni attorney, and one of the reasons why I'm not only an alumni attorney, Polly, but also the reason why I'm part of a legacy, my uncle. And the tribute to him, my grandfather, was absolutely beautiful. Combine that with my uncle having a way with words. Oh, trust me, I cried. But surprisingly not that. I'll be getting into what I cried at a little bit later. Seriously, I think every day this week something has literally tugged at my heartstrings. I don't know if my tear ducts can take it anymore. It's crazy. So, let's see. The food was amazing. You had a choice of like an herb seared chicken breast, some sort of eggplant rotellini, but I got the braised short rib, served like braised in Pinot. It was all really good. It came with like roasted potatoes, and green beans. The dinner was great. The hors d'oeuvres they were serving were pretty good. There was like a mini black bean tacos, like little steak roll-ups on a stick. These toast points were amazing. It was like roasted pear and gorgonzola cheese on like a little toast point. Those were like literally all the food was incredible. And I have to give a major shout out to the Corning Museum of Glass, or CMOG as we call it in this area, because those good people know how to throw something together. And what happened last night was absolutely outstanding. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Corning Museum of Glass, to be sure. But but everything they put together was absolutely breathtaking. In terms of, accommodations, just being nice people in general. And again, the food was fantastic. And naturally, when I was it is a Corning Museum of Glass, in terms of glass art. I took a few choice photos of the things that I saw, if you look on my social media. Although, FYI, the photos I took are but just a glimpse of what's at the Corning Museum of Glass. But I was able to get a photo of my all-time favorite thing at the Corning Museum of Glass. Okay, a bit of the backstory. The first time I went to the Corning Museum of Glass was in 5th grade. And as we're touring through the Museum of Glass, the tour guide takes us in this one room where it's really like kind of dark and atmospheric, and the only lighting is from like the actual displays itself. I mean, there's some lights on the ceiling, but it's meant to be like the rooms are painted really dark, brown and gray and black, just so it really adds to the atmosphere and makes the art in this particular area beautiful. But we stumbled across this one exhibit, and the guy asked, "How much do you think this thing weighs?" And I guessed, and I got it right. I guess it was about a ton, and I got it right. And just for how marvelous it looks, it's probably my favorite thing in the museum to look at. That's not like a glass show. Or, okay, there's just one thing at the Corning Museum of Glass, and anyone in my area who's been to the Corning Museum of Glass knows what I'm about to talk about. It's one of those giant contraptions where you put a quarter in, and you turn it, and like marbles go everywhere, and it makes like crazy sounds and everything. Like, you can get lost in that. You can get lost in that shit, and it's incredible. Love it. Pardon the language. Listen, I saw like the craziest movie last night that had a lot worse language than what I did, so don't you worry about that. But actually, if you ever go to the Corning Museum, naturally, if you're in the area, go to the Corning Museum of Glass. It's a beautiful place. The glass art is phenomenal. They have live glass shows. And about the thing I was about to talk about, the thing that's my favorite exhibit in the entire museum, I forget what it's called, so I just simply called it the Golden Baby Boat. Hashtag Golden Baby Boat. Anyway, let's talk about the movie I saw last night. Because, full disclosure, if it wasn't for the fact I just saw Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, this was going to be my first movie back in theaters in years. Because, as of last night, I can now say I have seen all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies in the theater. And for, here's the thing. I do not want to give anything about this movie away. I mean, don't get me wrong, even with Are You There, God Save Me, Margaret, I did give a couple of things away. Just for the sake of maybe a little bit of context. But if you are a Marvel fan and you have any aspirations of seeing this movie, you definitely want to go in cold. Listen, some of the previews have already spoiled that this is their final movie together. So I don't need to really spoil that because the advertisements pretty much already talk about that. And naturally with a movie like this, considering that for all intents and purposes, this was a big damn trilogy. All three movies of which were directed by James Gunn. Major shout out to James Gunn. And you'll know why in a minute. For those of you who don't know, James Gunn was the director of these movies. This was a big damn trilogy. And James Gunn did masterful work in making it. But it is the Guardians of the Galaxy themselves. Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, Rocket, Mantis, that one guy who is played by James Gunn's brother Sean, Cosmo the astronaut dog. Those characters are not... And Nebula. I almost forgot Nebula. Holy cow. Those guys are what made all three movies work. And it's no secret that, of course, it works here, too. And if there's, don't get me wrong, the two actors, well, really everyone in this movie was on point. I did not see one false note anywhere when it came to how possibly the characters were written and what was adapted to the screen. So, to the entire cast and crew of the movie, you got major props. You all did a wonderful... No one from that movie is ever going to watch this. But on the off chance they do, I just know that you guys did an amazing job. For sure. But if there are two characters that got me the most, well, really, technically it's three, but I used to count Rocket and Groot as one because in both movies, they are my favorite characters. Hands down. And I really... Actually, what am I doing? And it doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel comfortable sitting that way. But I could, actually. Full disclosure, last night I totally could have slept on this couch. I didn't, though. My parents have a guest bedroom, so I stay there. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I always really did love how Rocket and Groot really complement each other well. Where Rocket is brash, Groot is kind. Where Rocket is, rash, Groot is a little more calm. Where Groot is kind, Rocket is rude. Etc., etc. And I love that dynamic. It's actually very reminiscent of both Reagan and Brett from Inside Job. Hashtag save Inside Job. Yes, I'm still using that hashtag in the titles of my videos. Are you kidding me? Why would you cancel Inside Job? Anyway. But definitely Rocket and Groot. Mostly, actually, it was exactly similar. And gosh darn it, I gotta give a major shout out to Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. Because even though this movie technically does center around Rocket a little bit more, this is just as much Star-Lord's final outing. Even though, actually I don't want to give too much away. At least it's his final outing with the Guardians. And I might just give him that away, darn it. The point is, major shouts goes to Chris Pratt. Major shouts goes to Vin Diesel for Groot. And Bradley Cooper. Full disclosure, Bradley Cooper is one of my all-time favorite actors. And I have always been so admirable of how great of a job he does. I always admired how great of a job he did voicing Rocket. I mean, yes, we live in a day and age where, you know, voiceover roles in movies are done by celebrities instead of professional voiceover actors. And for all intents and purposes, Bradley Cooper is a celebrity. But it's one thing to be a celebrity. It's another thing to be a celebrity and have range. And Bradley Cooper has always had that in spades. Whether he was Phil from The Hangover, Rocket in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, or even in movies like American Sniper, or American Hustle for that matter, or even Silver Linings Playbook. Even when he played even when he was playing a clear antagonist in Wedding Crashers, there was always something so inherent to what he was able to do that I found likable. Seriously, Bradley Cooper should easily have an Oscar by now. And sadly, the one opportunity, in my mind, the only way Bradley Cooper really would be guaranteed an Oscar is if he was in a Quentin Tarantino movie. Seriously, Quentin Tarantino's writing with Bradley Cooper's charm, acting, and charisma, that'd be a win. That'd be like a match made in heaven. But sadly, Quentin Tarantino is already in the process of making his final movie, which is definitely a movie that I'm both looking forward to and not looking forward to at the same time. Oh, I'm seeing that movie when it comes out. Count on it. So, just between Bradley Cooper's performance as Rocket and Chris Pratt's performance as Star-Lord, or Peter Quill, it took until the very end of the movie to finally get me to cry. I did say earlier that I cried, right? And it was near the very end of the movie that it got me. That it finally got me. Like, seriously, I cried at the end. I cried on the way home. I even cried a little bit here. Okay, listen, I know it may not necessarily be a good thing to cry yourself to sleep sometimes, but this was a good cry, so it's okay. It's okay to cry, kids. Perfectly okay to cry. I mean, between just the event to it last night, which, by the way, I got to see a few really choice people last night, some of which I haven't seen in forever, some of which feels like forever. Between that and just how emotional this movie is, it's making me glad that more and more I finally have been able to take matters in my own hands and going out and doing things. Because the more I do that, the more I get that satisfaction of that initial feeling of what loving yourself means. I know I said the other day that, I think I'm finally beginning to understand what that means. But last night only further proves that what I'm doing in terms of going out, seeing people, going to events, it's the right call. It's something that I'm ashamed I didn't do sooner. It's something that I really want to do more, especially if I wind up seeing the people that I saw last night. Or even having an experience like watching the final Guardians of the Galaxy movie in the theater last night. Stuff like that makes everything worth it for me. And I couldn't be more happy about the fact that, because here's the thing. I always kind of thought that I had to do it with family to, do these sorts of things. And trust me, if anyone knows me, I really am a huge advocate for my family. Trust me, I wound up choosing my family over anything else when the pandemic began, which technically ultimately led to the heartbreak I had last year, but semantics. So, while I've always advocated for family, sometimes you just gotta take matters in your own hands. Go out there and have fun. Seriously, this whole year, I've been doing everything I can to try and do that. And it's all paid off. I'm taking risks. And the returns are wildly beyond what I thought I was going to get out of it. And maybe it's because I'm hard on myself that maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. But I tell you what, emotionally, I haven't felt this great in years. Years. Like, even before I started making videos, I didn't feel this way. I mean, granted, the more I make videos, the more that I'm at least getting the satisfaction that, I'm putting myself out there and doing stuff. And no, it hasn't led to anything making me being big and rich and famous. But you know what? It's honest. I said it before, and I'll say it again. For the last 1,951 days, I've remained sharp, I remained tough, and I made my way square. And stuff like what happened last night further proves that I'm doing the right thing. And the support I get from all of you is further proof that I'm doing the right thing. So thank you. I appreciate it. Huh. Holy cow. Because, seriously, I really was expecting to cry at some point during this video. And I feel some emotions welling up, but I don't feel like crying. I really hope that's not a bad thing. Oh, God. What if I really did that? Seriously, with all the crying I've done this whole week, what if I actually just completely dried my tear ducts? Wouldn't that... Actually, who am I kidding? That's not a real thing. You know what? Honestly, I feel too good to let myself start crying, I guess. I don't know. But this has been a very good week. So, from the bottom of my heart, I am very humbled that I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday, and may you all have a happy Cinco de Mayo. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and make good choices. Oh, by the way, do yourselves a favor and download the Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Volume 3. You will thank me later. Take care.